Today we're here with pure motivation to help unpack all these backpacks for children who can't afford one. They'll be here tomorrow and they will arrive in this building and see all these beautiful backpacks we left here for them.
So last year, correct, over 10,000 children came to the event. And these children are all living in difficult situations. Many of the families live just one paycheck away from disaster. I mean, how many of us, even in our own lives, have gone through situations, whether we were in school or maybe we had a single parent, where we know what it's like to go without. So this is all about the caring approach and how our community comes together to go ahead and serve others.
I think it's really important to help other people to each other so we can grow up together and we can make a better community.
I think this event is very important because it makes us better people, and I think everyone at Food Sale should not be thinking only about being the best professional, but also giving back to the community as, for example, being here.
So there's such a variety of things that I would like children to leave with, but the main thing is that they could be inspired to not just be taken care of at our event, but they could be inspired to one day, maybe when they get older, to understand that they didn't just go to a back-to-school event, but this was an event that was created with the purpose to make sure that they were taken care of and that they, becoming older, could do the same thing and love somebody else.
All right, what a beautiful video. That was amazing and brings back a lot of memories for last year. I was just honored to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So how you doing?
Hey, Rob, how are you? Doing well. Yeah, this is the third time I've seen this video, and I've not seen it prior to today. And what it reminds me of is you see that many backpacks. And Rob, you were there last year, and actually Rob with Fierce Entertainment and his team, they actually helped secure a venue for us last year at no cost. So whereas, for 14 years, 13 years prior to that, we would rent the Amway Center or Camping World. Rob, you did that. Thank you. You saw that mountain of backpacks
Yes.
in that video. It's funny, you can forget, what it was like last year, but to see that, and each of those backpacks represents a child. And Rob, I wonder what you think about this. You saw 100 children come into the venue, 200, 2,000, 3,000, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,000 children with their families coming in to last year's event. What did you think about it?
First of all, I will tell you, with me, we were getting, anytime we're doing something, I'm in like production mode. So I'm not thinking. So we're just making sure everything is, set up right and ready. And then I'm looking at the time and I'm like, wait, I don't see anybody. I was like, let me look outside and see if anybody's going to come, because that was the first year changing the venue. So I was a little concerned that, the word maybe did not get out that the venue was at a new location. And so I peeped outside the door, and I swear, as far as my eye could see, there was a line, like down the street, like across the parking lot, through the parking lot, and down the street, there was a line of people. And I was like, wow. And I know that's, that was my first time working with you guys. And I know you told me, it's like, there's going to be 9,000 to 10,000 children here this year. And, just seeing them, it was amazing. And then looking at the faces, like you said, each one of those book bags represented a child, but it also represented a smile, because just each person, their eyes just lit up anytime, and they're like, "This is mine. I get to have it." And I should say more than just that one smile, because the parents, they were very grateful, and they were smiling, and they were happy to see their children happy, and to hear that they have 4 kids, and each one of those kids, they didn't have to pick just one book bag. Each kid can get a book bag. It was amazing. It was amazing. So
this is interesting about our community. Anytime there's a major situation, a major obstacle or tragedy, our Central Florida community always comes together. You know, this is the
Yes.
5th year that we're all coming together as volunteers. You know, Hope Now Foundation here in Central Florida, all run by volunteers. And it can only happen because we come together. And,
Yes.
you know, from you, Rob, and the 400 other volunteers that support this effort, this is an amazing thing. It's unreal to recognize that there are so many needs out there. And, you know, we all have our own story. You know, what has motivated us? What has impacted our lives, our hearts, our souls, to motivate us to do the things we do, to care for others, especially little kids.
Right.
They ask to be born into the situations that they are. And Rob, one thing that I'm very, very grateful for is to have Danie B from Power 95.3 here with us this afternoon. And she is a community leader, a celebrity here in Central Florida. And not only is she one of the best at what she does, but she's also focused on making a difference in our community. And, you know, Rob, what do you got to say about Danie B?
I just got to meet Danie B, and I could tell you one thing, man. She is a beautiful soul. So you hear her on the radio, and you know you light up. But when you see her, you see her, the passion that she has, and her joy. She talked to us a little bit about, and I think we should get her to share her story. But you know, love for teaching and giving the gift of sharing her knowledge to others. And you know, I think the audience will see that she is a beautiful soul. And you know, let's bring her in, Miss Danie B from 95.3. You can catch her on 95.3 from 6 to 10 every morning. How you doing, Danie?
I'm good. I'm good. How are y'all? That was so nice.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I'll send you the bill later. Not just joking. No, but no, for real though, you are a beautiful soul, and you know, just getting to talk to you a little bit and hearing your story, and you know, you came from Atlanta, right?
Originally from Atlanta and raised.
So is that Southern charm that you know, that we see exuding out of you, you know, just coming out of you? Is that what that is?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't think I have like a Southern charm.
You don't have the Georgia peach thing?
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Okay, all right.
Well, you know, Danie B, what we're looking forward to is you know, because of social media, literally tens of thousands of people are going to watch this conversation that the three of us are having. And you know, what everybody's really interested in is yes, we're going to talk about our Central Florida community and coming together for this moment right now, this time period. And you know, let's talk about this time period real quick. We're in unprecedented times with the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, we all have elderly family members that we know we got to take care of them. We have children, we have friends, family members, coworkers that are all being impacted by this time. And you know, as of June 20th, the recent stats show about 30 million Americans are unemployed right now.
Wow.
And this is more than the highest peak point when the Great Recession happened years ago. And so folks are having a hard time. But what we're finding is, especially here in Central Florida, is that, again, when a tragedy happens, we come together. But it takes community leaders like you to give a voice to this. What people are interested in right now, Danie B, is about your story. You know, why are you taking time out of your day as a celebrity here in Central Florida to focus on others? You know, where do you come from? Let's start off with this. What is your path? What was your path to bring you to be in broadcast journalism, into radio? And what are the things that have happened in your life to make you who you are at this point? Can you share that with us?
Oh, okay, sure. Well, I'm originally, again, from Atlanta, Georgia. From a very, very young age, I always knew I wanted to be on the radio. I knew I wanted to do TV. I knew nobody in the business. So I was just like, you're just gonna have to figure it out, you know? And I literally just reminisced about this because I graduated from college, 10 years ago last week. And I literally remember graduating and saying, okay, the career path you have chosen, you're gonna struggle. You're just gonna struggle. That's just what's going to happen. You don't know anybody in the business. All my friends, they had internships and jobs and all that types of stuff like lined up. And I had an internship where when I met with the guy, he told me, yeah, you're not gonna get a job from this. It's just not gonna happen. Like, we don't have the budget. I'm not trying to discourage you, but you know, it's just not gonna happen. And I was just like, okay, well, we will figure things out. Literally a week before my internship started, I got hit by a drunk driver.
Wow.
Down the street from my house. Yeah, so my car was totaled. Thank God I was, okay. But now my family lives like 40 minutes outside of the city. I have to find a way to get to this internship. I'm not being paid and there is no promise of a job. Wow. So and I'm in Atlanta, so I hop on the transit system. I took 2 buses and 2 trains every day to get to this internship. And because I didn't have a car, I was just stuck there all day until my dad got off work so he could get me. Wow. And so I was stuck there. I'm like, okay, well, I'll sit here in the news department. A lot of people think it's funny because they hear me on Power that, yeah, I started off as a news reporter and I was a traffic reporter. And I was a really good traffic reporter too. Doing traffic in Atlanta is hard.
It's always the traffic. There's always traffic. What do you have to do?
Traffic. What I had to do, I had to look at the helicopters. I had to cue the TV stations. You had to cue the radio station. Oh, wow. It was a lot.
So it's more than just saying don't go on I-75 because it's back to back. It's more than that. Okay.
And I'll tell you what, Danie B, being in an accident, and I've been in one before as well, it really rattles your world, doesn't it? I mean, it really makes you evaluate things and you understand just how fragile life is.
Really?
And then obviously that impacted you, but I mean, to take two trains and 2 buses to be committed to go ahead and do that, and at the same time,
journey every day to get there.
Say that again.
How many?
It's a 4-hour journey every day to get. It's ridiculous.
4 hours.
Because you were rush hour traffic, so that was 2 hours gone right there.
I-4 not so bad, right?
Exactly. But yeah, from there, I was stuck there all day because I didn't have a car. And so when I finished in the newsroom, I would go to the promotions department. When I finished in the promotions department, I wasn't supposed to be in these departments. I would just go and say, hey, do you guys need help? From there, I would go to the traffic department. From there, I would go to the production room. I was just trying to learn everything I could because I wasn't going to get a job. So it turns out that I actually did end up getting a job a couple of weeks before my internship ended. And that's when I started working full time in the traffic center. And from there, I became on air there. That took like 2 years, just sending out demos every week and programmers ignoring you. But like I was determined, every week, Wednesday, 10 o'clock, you would have something in your inbox from me if you were a programmer.
Nice.
Resilient.
So eventually I got on the air in Atlanta. I was doing traffic reporting and I was also on the music station there. And then when the music station went away, because the changes like these happen in the industry, I moved to upstate New York. I was there for 3 years. The first 2 years I was doing afternoons. The first year and a half I was doing afternoons. Second year and a half, they bumped me to do a morning show by myself with nobody, no one I was talking to, no producer, nothing. So I had to come up with bits and grab winners and grab callers and do everything myself. Again, in upstate New York, I knew no one up there. Same thing. And then on the weekends, I was like, I know I don't want to stay here. So on the weekends, I would drive to Boston or I would drive to Poughkeepsie. I would do Poughkeepsie which is like an hour and a half, 2-hour drive from Albany, New York. I would drive to Poughkeepsie on Saturdays. I would drive to Boston on Sundays to do radio there at the CBS station. that me doing that is how I got in Orlando, because the guy who, and it's so crazy how everything connects. The guy who put me on the radio, one of the people who put me on the radio in Atlanta, moved to Boston. And so when I got on the radio in Boston, it was because of him, because he knew me, knew my work ethic. He heard, you know, he had seen my growth. And then the person, his radio mentor had a station here in Orlando. And he's like, send me your demo. They're looking for people. And I'm like, okay. I sent my demo. He liked it. I end up in Orlando at the Intercom building. I'm like, okay, great. Everything is awesome. Like, I'm in a great city. I'm close to my parents. This is great. And then almost 2 years go by and they changed the station. They took it to an alternative station. And so all of get out. And so, like I was telling you,
don't give up. You would never give up. You keep on going.
That's the thing. Like, it's so many people I started out, you know, this journey with, and I feel like I look around and it's literally two of us. It's me, and then I have a friend that actually made it to CBS News, Skylar Henry. If you watch CBS and you see Skylar Henry, that's like one of my homies. So yeah, like we made it. But I guess going back to your original question, that's a little bit about my journey. I don't want to keep going.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful.
People are messages. People are loving this. So.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I guess we keep going. So from there, I got let go, and I was like, do I stay here? Because I have to pay rent. I have to figure stuff out. Whereas if I go home, I can go home. Like, I can go home and do the same thing at home and not have to worry about my rent and all of that, because my parents are there. And honestly, my co-host that I'm with now, Kevin Kahn, he convinced me to stay. And other people from that radio station convinced me to stay. And it's funny, like God just puts people in your life. And I feel like God like puts, you know, people around you and kind of to basically move along, to let you know that you're doing the right thing in a way. Because again, I was going to go home. I was dead set on going home. I'm like, my lease is about to be up. I don't have a check. I don't have a job because, you know, I had a deal. I'm on what's it called? I have a non-compete, so I'm not allowed to work.
Wow.
I'm allowed to look for a job. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go home. And my co-host that's with me on the show now, he's now like one of my best friends, but he got called to go to Tampa. And so he goes to Tampa, our sister station there, Hot 107.9, and the guys there, like, he's like, I really, really like you. You know, you're great. I'm giving you the job. He was still in the clubs DJing because he's a DJ as well. So he still had his DJ gigs to kind of fall back on, whereas I was kind of like, what's happening? And he literally turned down the job. He's like, I already have something going for myself right now, but I'm trying to keep my sis here. So how about you talk to her? He was like, I don't want the job. Give it to her. He was like, y'all need a female on staff. I see what you have going on here. She would be. And so he calls me out. He meets me. And then he's like, okay, I talked to some people. I figured it out. I'm just going to hire both of you. And that's how we got to the company of said Power 95.3.
Oh, that's crazy.
Rob, that's pretty powerful, right?
It is.
And
So,
and the thing is, you know, I've heard you before. I heard both of you guys before, and I think like when you came in to Orlando, it was like boom, both of you at the same time. So it was like, who you know, Kevin Kahn and Danie B. Who is this? You know what I mean? But the chemistry that you guys had was amazing. So it's good to see, you know, now to hear the story that it was like authentic chemistry. Like you guys are really cool because I can hear it, like he's ragging on you, and you know, you guys go back and forth a little bit every once in a while, and I'm like, man, you know, how I was curious to see how you guys were pulling that off. You know what I mean? Just put it, you know,
we are
so that was interesting.
From day one of me being in Orlando, day one.
Wow.
He came in the studio, he's just this little obnoxious kid, and he's like, hey girl, and I'm like, and it's my first day, and I'm like nervous. I'm like, why is this kid yelling at me?
Because it seems like he tries to push your buttons, but you just let it. You just like go with it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, he's like the annoying little brother. Like, we live together now. From there, we just always had this like chemistry, and he just took me. It's weird. He took me under his wing, and he integrated me into his family and all that. And that time that I was unemployed, like people from AMP Radio, which is the station that I was at over at Intercom, like Renee Guffin is amazing. She let me stay with her for a year, rent free. Like, and her only thing that she told me to do, she said, you pass this on to someone else. That's the only thing that she wanted to do. And so, yeah, she brought me, she did, like, we knew each other because we worked together, but she saw something in me and she was like, no, you're not going to go home. And Keith Day is another guy who worked with us at AMP Radio, and he set the whole thing up because I was literally days from just kind of, I was like, I guess I'll get an Airbnb and kind of try and work it out, because I was in the company here. I'm still working in Tampa, but I was not full time yet. So I still needed to figure something out. And in the meantime, I was applying and going through the process to become a substitute teacher, because I always said if I wasn't doing this, I'd be a teacher. Right. And so, okay, well, let me try it. Let's be a substitute to see if I even like being in the classroom. And I have nothing but time now. So yeah, in the midst of that time, I ended up working in Tampa part-time because Kevin brought me in that way. I was living with Renee. Like, I was 2 days literally from being on the street. And she's like, no, come live with me. I'm coming to get you. She brought me in with her husband, Chris, and her child. And she's like, yeah, like, we're all going to be a family. This is just what it is.
Wow. What a powerful, Rob, that's a powerful story. And Danie B, what you're sharing with us is powerful, because you said you were like several days from having no place to live. Mm-hmm. And you had somebody that cared about you and loved you, and they made a difference. So they allowed you to live in their place, right?
Exactly. She did not know. She knew me, but she didn't know me like that. But
right.
Like, yes, come live.
That's amazing.
I cleaned out this whole room for you. Another, like, again, our other coworker, Keith Day, was like, I'm going to figure this out. Kevin was like, I'm calling people, like, you are not going back to Atlanta. We're going to figure this out. You're going to come here, because, you know, like, a lot of times with media, it's like you have your foot in the door, and I had my foot in the door over in Tampa, but they had no full-time opportunities yet. So it's like, I have something going here. I don't really just want to up and leave, you know, like, how am I going to make this work? So yes, she let me stay with her for a year. And while I was still there, eventually they brought me over to be part-time here at Power. And that's how I got to Power, because it was the same company. So the PDs were talking back and forth. They're like, hey, you need help over there. I have a girl and she's actually in Orlando. And so, yep, I would work at the schools in the morning. In the evening, I would come here and be on Power. And at night, I would drive to Windermere and I would live with Renee.
Wow.
That's amazing. And you know, when you talk about living with somebody, you know, it's like you're in their space, right? Mm-hmm. And you're trying to be careful. You don't want to make any noises.
Exactly.
When can I go out? Whose food is that in the fridge? That's not
exactly.
I can't eat that. I'm really hungry. I want some chips, but I can't eat those chips.
You know? With her, she was like, no, you are a part of this family. She was like, anything in the refrigerator is yours.
Open up everything for you.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You know, and the other thing too, Rob, that I hear from Danie B is that education, focus on educating children. And, you know, right now with what's happening in Central Florida, it is not only a COVID-19 pandemic, but it's hit the economy. And, you know, not only are the families that have always had a tough situation, not only have their situations become magnified because of it, but we have teachers. Teachers have a tough situation a lot of times too. Yes. And, you know, how many teachers can we all think about, and you too, Danie B, is that take the burden on their shoulders of making sure that children have the supplies that they need. So not only are we coming together right now to impact the kids, you know, every year we help over 10,000 children as a community, as volunteers. Mm-hmm. This is over 70,000 children that we've helped over the last 14 years, this being the 15th year.
Wow.
And, you know, Danie B, one of the toughest things was when we had to cancel this year's event. And, you know, Rob last year helped us get a venue that we had to pay zero for. Talk about letting somebody go into your fridge
Right.
and grab that, you know, turkey and cheese. You know, Rob like opened up a venue and we didn't have to pay anything. You know, prior years, we rented the Amway Center, you know, or we rented Camping World. And how are we going to serve these families? We want them to feel like amazing. We want to treat them like we would, you know, a famous person like you. You know, we want to treat them like incredible. And so Rob set that up, but we had to cancel this year's event. But we decided not to give up. And when I think of you, Danie B, I think of resilience and determination.
Yes.
And you know, these are the things that as professionals that, you know, we all know folks that are extremely successful, maybe wealthy, very famous. We're all human beings. We all of us go through tough times, all of us.
Yes.
And when we can hear a story like yours, Danie B, you never know who's going to hear this. Tens of thousands of people through all the social media outlets that we're connecting this conversation to are hearing your voice. And so what you're sharing and your resilience and your determination, it's going to inspire some other folks. And I just want to say thank you for that. Teaching, you know, right now kids are in a weird time. Can you imagine that? You know, we're going to learn at home, really? Like,
I know.
If I had to teach my kids algebra, you know, they're definitely not going into a math industry. You know, it's tough. Or even children that are going to be going into brick and mortar schools.
Right.
You know, there are tens of thousands of children that live in tough situations. We together, with your help, Danie B, we're going to be able to go ahead and make a difference in their lives by making sure they have the tools and the resources that they need to start off school successfully, whether it's on the kitchen table or it's in the desk at school. And so I just want to say thank you for that. And can you share a little bit more with us, Danie B? Like, we see that there are things that have happened in your life, but what's your motivation for giving back and for serving our community?
I feel like with me just growing up in Atlanta, you know, I was very active in the church. It's not just your parents, you know, that raise kids. You know, that whole, like, it's really cliche to say, but it's true. Like, it takes a whole village, you know, and even to this day, like, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the church mothers who sent me care packages when I was at upstate New York by myself, making $26,000 a year in New York. Which has the highest state tax bracket. Like, here in Florida, you don't even pay state tax, but in New York, it, like, you get your check and you're like, what happened? So, you know, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for people like that, you know, like, and just like you said, like, we've all seen tough times and we're all dealing with tough times right now. So as far as like what motivates me, I feel a little bit of a duty and a responsibility just because so many different people poured into me and so many people, you know, helped me along the way, you know, like Renee, like Keith Day, like, you know, all the people who even gave me an opportunity, because there was a time like people were like, girl, get out of here. Like, I'm not trying to hear it. You know, my first time doing a TV show was for a church pageant type thing, and it was Beulah Baptist Church TV. So, you know, like those things, and public speaking and oratorical contests, and teachers who were also, like, again, in my church, in my drama classes, like my track coaches, like these teachers poured into me and instilled things in me that I was able to kind of take throughout life, and that all that stuff like forms a person. So who am I to, you know, become an adult and to just be like, to the community? No, that's your duty, that's your responsibility. And then being on the radio, there's also a duty that comes with that, to be, you know, responsible about what you're saying and to actually impact the community, because you don't realize it, but people, in essence, when you're on the radio and when you're on TV, people kind of live with you, you know, like people take you where they go, and you don't realize that until you go out and about and someone tells you, you know, this thing that you said helped me throughout my day. Or even how we talked about backpack-a-thon today. Power is a fun station. And so we're like, okay, how can we get the message in people's heads and entertain them and make them laugh at the same time? And we did this whole thing with Dora the Explorer in her backpack,
Nice.
backpack song. We added this trap beat underneath it, and people called that backpack thing was hilarious. How do I help? So,
Oh, wow.
like trying to find ways to inspire people and to kind of, I like to look at it as I try to trick people into learning. So, again, Power is a fun station. We're not like uptight. We're not like the news and all of that. So it's like, okay, how can we present this information in a fun way and in a way that is going to stick in somebody's mind so that they can then carry it along with them. And in this case, help the community, help us all come together to grow.
Wow.
Rob, that's powerful, isn't it?
That is.
Rob, how much time do we have, do you think?
We just finished up the 30-minute segment, but I think she's good enough for a couple. Yeah, we have a couple questions. I think she's good to answer.
Okay.
So we got a few questions in here, and
wow. Okay.
is kind of funny, and then I'm going to wrap this up by asking you a final question at the end, Danie B. That's my question.
Okay.
But for here, this one says. And I really like this question, and it's one of Rob's favorite questions. It's what do you think Rob had for breakfast this morning? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. He had nothing. Okay, so here's the question: if you could switch lives with someone for a day, who would you choose? It could be a historical figure. It could be a current person, somebody you don't know. If you could switch lives with someone, Danie B from Power 95.3 for a day, who would you choose?
The first person that just I'm just gonna go with kind of think. The first person that just popped in my head was Michelle Obama.
Oh, Michelle Obama.
I love Michelle Obama.
That is powerful.
She's amazing. I feel like on one hand, I would want to switch lives with her for a day just so I could be her for a day and I could have her thoughts and be like, girl, what was really going through your mind when this happened? So it was just cool to see such a different perspective of the same events that I lived through. But then on the flip side of it, like, I just love her. Like, she's just always so positive. She's like her own woman. Like, yes, she was the first lady, but at the same time, she's like, I have my own life too. Like, I'm not just that. And with her book and her podcast and all that, she's literally been showing the world like who she is. And I just love her.
Wow, what a great answer. And I was talking to another friend of mine the other day, and he was in Forbes magazine 2 years ago as one of the 30 under 30, and we were talking about different leaders. And the one person for the adolescents, that age group that has really come out to be a powerful leader for that age demographic of like 14 to 18, 19, 21, around there, is Michelle Obama.
Wow.
Really somebody that is really inspiring folks. But then also, not just because she has that notoriety because of the presidency, but because she's providing value and direction to people.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. And we got to shout out Danie B because she provides value every day on Power 95.3 between 6 and 10 a.m. Right? Yeah. So make sure you guys check her out if you're in the Orlando area. And Michael, you had another question for her?
Yeah, so I got a couple other things here. So I got two more.
Okay.
So okay, you got a few more minutes?
Yeah.
So the next one's kind of funny, and I don't know who. Okay, what sound or noise do you love, Danie B? What sound or noise do you love? That's a deep question. That's a good question.
Noise
or noise, sound or noise do you love?
I would say laughter. I love when people laugh. Like, I don't know.
The best answer.
That's the best answer, yeah.
I like laughter. Like, it's so, it's joyous, it's happy. it's like a release of good energy. So yeah, I love laughter. And that's actually part of why I moved from news to doing music radio, just because it was a little bit more lax, and news can get really serious. And honestly, it can get so heavy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And it's literally, it's sad to say, but it's the same story every day with a different name. It's the same. It's the same thing, different name. We talk to this person. It's literally the same. So yeah, when I started doing music, it was like, okay, I can be fun here, and I can actually like slip some nuggets of realness and some nuggets of information in, and kind of package it in a little comedic bow, and it's easy for people to digest, and they laugh. So I like
Dora the Explorer. I mean, that's a great way of presenting that.
Oh, Kevin, you have to pull that audio and send it to them.
Yes, we need that. We need that audio. You said it's Dora the Explorer under like a trap beat.
Yeah.
Can you sing it? Can you sing it?
Can I sing it? I don't remember the whole song.
You know, Rob, that is very unfair of Rob to ask.
I know. I was just messing with her.
Backpack.
Hey, here's the next one, guys. Is the Hope Now Foundation is run by all volunteers. The three of us are all volunteers here. Many of you listening, tens of thousands of people are hearing this conversation. A conversation with Danie B about hope, about resilience, about determination, about love, about giving back. And I always like to thank God for the opportunity to even have a thought to serve others and to serve him, and thank Jesus for that. And regardless of what your motivation is, for any of you that are listening, you can be motivated by whatever you want. We just welcome you to join us in this cause, in this effort that we're calling Backpack-a-thon, to serve not one, not two, not 10, 15. We want to serve 20,000 children here in our community, and they really do have need, guys. They need us. They need us to come together. And I'd like to close with this, Rob, is Danie B. Can you close this out with talking to a mom, maybe even talking to a mom, talking to a dad, talking to a child that maybe they're going through a hard time right now? Because, Rob, I'm going to call Danie B our Hope Now ambassador of joy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's who you are for us. Is what can you say to somebody out there that's listening to this right here? How can you inspire them and encourage them? Can you do that for us?
Okay, I could try. Just like you said, I know you're going through tough times. I know it's hard. I've been there as well, as we talked about. I've been, I've had to sleep in cars. I've been different places by myself. But you just kind of have to continue to push through. And I know that's harder. It's way easier said than done as far as how to do that. I mean, I literally am kind of still up and down going through that myself, because we talked about COVID-19. I lost my aunt and uncle to COVID-19. Wow. And so I get it. I get it. Sometimes you just do want to stay in bed and cry all day long, because I did that. I did that for like a month or two straight. So I get it, but just know that it does get better. A lot of times in my life, at least, when I've had the biggest turmoil and the biggest tragedies happen, and I just felt like, God, like, what else? I know you don't put more on me than I can bear, but what else? What? Like, when I feel like that, and I just feel like I can't push any longer, like literally the next turnaround, it's like the biggest blessing. I can even speak to that with here. I just told you, like, my aunt died of COVID-19. My uncle died of COVID-19. We didn't know what was going on with our jobs or anything. And then literally, like myself and Kevin was going through some tough things as well. And then literally it just turned around in literally one day. They're like, okay, we're moving you to mornings. And we're like,
wow,
you're getting promoted? Literally same thing happened in Atlanta. Like, I was just kind of feeling stagnant in my career. Nothing was going right. Everything seemed to be going wrong. And then, okay, we want to bring you to New York. Mm-hmm. Really? Me? New York? Car accident. You're not getting a job. Okay, I'm just hustling. I'm just hustling. I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to make it. Okay, we're going to give you a job. We're going to give you a shot. So it sucks, but a lot of times when you're at your deepest and you're in your valley, you know, you're going to come up out of that victorious. So just keep pushing, just stay in there, keep pushing forward, you know, and it'll all turn around for you.
Thank you for sharing that. And Danie B, a story of resilience, determination. And the other thing I get from your story is together, that together we can do things. And this is our opportunity right now, this tragic time, to come together and to help young kids in our community, little kids that didn't ask to be born in the situations that they're in. And they have great parents. They have great moms. They have great dads. They have great grandparents, wonderful grandparents. And they're doing the best they can. But just like Danie B said, we can do these things when we do them together. And isn't that the message, guys? Is you know, don't give up, and we can do it together. And so, thank you, Danie B. Thank you for your time, taking the time out of your day, and everybody keep on listening to you.
Yes, you can check her out. You can check Danie B out at Danie B Trippin'. That's her Instagram handle, at Danie B Trippin'. And of course, if you want to visit the Hope Now website to check out the book bags, you can go to hnow.org. All right. And thank you, Danie B, so much for being a part of this. And thank you, Michael, for letting me be a part of it.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. Have an awesome day.
You too.
You too.
Thanks for watching. You can catch us live every Friday at 6 o'clock. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button. Stay healthy, stay safe, and stay fierce.